Hello? You. Watering these plants. But yeah, that's cool. Well, as soon as I finish, let me get settled, and I'm gonna call you back. All right. Oh. Why the art of hustle? Whew. I feel like there truly is an art to what's being done, and over the last 10 years I've watched things evolve into not just an organization or certain entities or a creative process, but I've watched things turn into an ecosystem, and that's how we refer to it. And I think that, like, when you really, really get into my mind, at least, and I see it as an art. I see it, every single thing that is being done as an intentional movement that affects another movement, that affects another movement, that affects another movement, which naturally just creates an ecosystem. And I think that sometimes it gets misconstrued because it's like, oh, like, it's just a lot going on. It's just a lot going on. God willing that I know that every day and every single movement is just a movement of purpose, and these intentional movements, and not moving on my own will, is creating something legendary. And I think that that's all why that's the whole reason why we hustle, right? It's just to create something that lives beyond us. And to me, that's art, right? Like, any artist you think about, is creating so that, one, they can free their mind of the things that they are constantly thinking about or coming up with. But they're also creating because for freedom. They're creating for to push the bounds of everything. And I think with the word hustle, there's bounds to it. There's limitations that come to it sometimes. And I want to put art behind it and throw that into the classification of art so that it doesn't have to look the same as everything. And entrepreneurship in itself doesn't have to look the same as every other, entrepreneurial endeavor. And what we're doing, myself, the team, any partners, collaborators, like, what we're doing is pushing the bounds just like any art capacity would. So the art of hustle is, it started with just like a collection of like clothes. And then we said, nope, we're not even gonna put that out. We put the bucket hats out, but we didn't even push the whole collection. And then it came back around and it was like, yo, let's do a master class. Like, I remember Taylor was like, yo, like, you need to really, really make this a master class of how you network and create connections, and this turns into this and this turns into this. And so, although sometimes it is a lot, right? Like, sometimes I'm really like, yo, this really is a lot, but it all makes sense. And once anybody kind of gets in that fold, it really does make sense. And one thing bleeds into another, and the other thing bleeds into another, and there's space for everybody. And I think just in itself, that is the art of hustle, is pushing the bounds of what could be. Art of hustle. So, like, even if I think about it right now, it's like, we chose not to do art of hustle masterclass, right? I think I psyched myself out on that, honestly. I should have pulled the trigger, but I let some time get away from me, so we didn't pull the trigger on the actual masterclass. So I said, all right, boom. Like, I can do a podcast, and I could do creative conversations, which is like a really dope workshop that we have through the collective. And myself and Bear, we could like make it to where we're hosting these same topics that I would do in a masterclass, but I'm kind of doing a proof of concept type of thing where let me throw the topic out there like, hey, we're going to host this workshop and see what the traction is throughout the year. Boom, bounce the masterclass in 2026. Have the podcast, the Hustle Spirit Show with the fellas, and have, an individual podcast with myself, kind of just giving game. And it's not to just like knock out, it's not to knock out what I wanted to do with the masterclass, but I think the creative conversations was going to kind of allow me to see, do I have the content? Do I have the wherewithal and the capacity to teach workshops? And, now we're in April and into April, and it's like, okay, cool. We've been doing it. January, we popped off with, building your why, like, right. And people came to creative conversations. They loved it. We're giving homework, and then we got into entrepreneurship, Black entrepreneurship. And then March, we're in youth empowerment. And so it's all things that, I have 10 years of experience diving into. And now we're in April, and it's like, people are wanting this content. People are wanting like this not advice, but the mentorship, the avocation, the authentic, right, responses, and the unstructured, like, love, I would say. And so it was like, you know what? Like, we need to roll out this podcast, an untraditional podcast, I'm going to say, because it's definitely not going to look like anything you've ever seen, but we need to roll this joint out. And I really need to like just talk. I need to tell what's going on. I need to show people the behind the scenes of like what entrepreneurship looks like with these topics, and still do the workshops, but really, really dive into who I am and no longer get caught in that mode of between ideation and action. And, through that workshop, we just talked about it just not last night of like, there's a balance, man. If you get stuck in between those things, you can waste 3-4 months of just nothing, just not doing it, because you don't think that it's supposed to happen until somebody comes by and they're like, this is the masterclass. So, Art of Hustle.
So with you being a Black entrepreneur yourself, what role does culture and heritage play in how you build your businesses?
Culture, I mean, for the ecosystem that I've created, bro, like, culture is everything for me, bro. Like, I feel like I'm constantly pushing the culture, especially for location, for where I'm at and where I decided to build business and really create the roots. Culture is everything to me. And I think that we have a radiant culture that bleeds, that radiates to where people feel it. And not only do they feel it, they're like, yeah, it's a little contagious. Like, how do I get some of it? And I think one that's just built off of just whether it's, it's travel, it's getting myself into uncomfortable, spaces, and like understanding that the space that I did decide to build business is not heavy on cultural experiences. Doesn't mean culture's not there, but sometimes the push of culture and the innovation of culture and creativity with culture is not there. So I have to constantly push myself into spaces, with travel or just people that I meet and learning new things, that I can implement that into the ecosystem, whether it's in the clothes, whether it's in the type of outdoor experiences that we do, or what the conference looks like, or the type of mentorship that I provide in the schools, or the way I teach, the way all of those things. Again, it's an art, right? It's really an art of how things are portrayed. It's a true art in how you hustle. You can't just hustle to be hustling. And I'm not gonna say I haven't got caught up in that, right? Like I ain't got. It's not. I'm not perfect in no way, shape, or form. But I try my best to make sure that my hustle is not in vain, and that there is an art to it, and there is a step-by-step process, and a what do they call it? Something chaos, organized chaos. We're running, 8 different projects, but it all makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It just sucks that, sometimes opportunity just be, sometimes we have to put some opportunity on the shelf. Sometimes it's like, we gotta go. But I say all of that to say, like, culture is huge, heritage is huge. My grandmother, my grandfather, I feel like my grandfather was the hustler. My grandmother was the humble. You know what I'm saying? She was the humble, and that's filtered straight into me, in the most beautiful way. And so I think culture is implemented every day, and that black heritage, that black excellence, that feel is very much involved heavily. Because I want youth, and I want collaborators, and I want partners to see what we do and how we hustle, and that ecosystem of whoever's at the table taking the seat, whoever's running the project, whoever's leading that, myself, whoever it is. I want whoever is involved to be like, dang, like, this is the way to do it, right? Like, this is, how do we, when can we, and people just, I want people to not beg, but I want people to want to be around us and be involved with us so bad, because of the fact that they feel that culture, they feel that heritage, they feel that authenticity, and that in itself is art, right? That in itself is art. So it plays a big role, bro. Like, it plays a major role. I take very much pride in who I am and this beautiful melanated skin that I'm in. I take very much pride in that. When I walk in a room now, it took some time to learn it and really harness it. But now when I'm in those rooms, bro, I'm like, yo, like, I know who I am. I belong here. You feel me? So and that takes time. Art takes time to develop and to mature and to, there's a maturation process. There's a falling, and there's a time where it feels like there's no value, right? You're just sitting on the shelf, right? That's art. That's art in itself. After time, bro, you can't tell me a piece that's been worked on in 40 years, 50 years ain't worth something. So that's what we're going for, is to let our hustle be art and let it speak for itself.
Have you always had that awareness about, it taking time, or has this been something that you've had to grow into in your time of doing what you're doing now?
I think the awareness has always been there. I think the heart has always been there. The heart has always been there, but I can't say. Again, I think there's the maturation process. I think certain things had to happen in order for me to be able to see it and believe it. It's one thing to see it, but like, do you believe it? So I think it's always been there, right? Because when we're born with we're born with the purpose. But sometimes you don't see it till late. I thank God that I was able to, like, find my purpose and passion early. And that don't mean I ain't always kind of just like, am I doing the right thing? Like, right. You know what I'm saying? That naturally comes up, but like, for the most part, yeah. I think it's always been there. It's just, sometimes you take the wrong path and you gotta go down a couple exits to be able to find the right joint that gets you right back on the road. So, yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So we've gone from January collabs, February entrepreneurship, focus on black entrepreneurs, to March youth empowerment, April we're in it doing collabs. Like what is this shaping up to be? Where is this art of hustle taking us? What's the destination?
Shit, I don't know. Nah, the art of hustle is going to be right. So like you said, January was your why, and I think even just like if you've been watching like my Instagram and watching how I post the story of the calendar, and you're able to like go along with me, because you know like darn, he's speaking here. He's got this workshop, boom, 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 boom. I think this gives more of an inside scoop, right, to some of the things that people want to know. They're trying to figure out. You're gonna learn about the ecosystem. You're gonna hear true stories. Like I get to be myself. You know what I'm saying? Like a little more personality without it having to be so like so structured. Like
So behind the curtain.
yeah, I'm in my space. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm free and I get to talk about what I do.
Right.
So that you know, of course, we want more people to join into the movement. I want more people to come to Roanoke and like you know see what our hustle is really about, right? Like there's so many different people and like my boys that are doing like moving and shaking like in spaces to where we all I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, I mean I think that like each month I really want to provide, you know, like I said, I want to give the inside scoop. I want to be transparent. I want to provide mentorship, provide all of these things because I feel like that's where my life is going as far as, you know, we put in a lot of action and to me I really like I say 10 years and it does have a lot of weight because I'm like 10 years, bro. Like you put 10 years into this, like I could have been anywhere. I could have moved anywhere. I could be doing anything at this point, but I just put 10 years into this. So now I really want people to really, really understand, like, one, the sacrifice it takes, the dedication. Like, do you truly want to do this? Like I'm going to tell you what it really, really, really looks like.
Right.
So you can really make a very sound and wise decision
Right.
before you get into this space and possibly mess it up for somebody else because of ego, right? Because you just want to jump in because it looks like, oh. It's like, no, let me show you what it really looks like. Johnny said that the other night.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, y'all don't, nobody gets this, nobody shows like the real of it when, you know, I could have easily texted you and been like, nah, not today, bro. I ain't feeling it.
Right.
But at some point, it's like, bro, like if I cancel today, I'm gonna cancel tomorrow.
Right.
So, I really want the art of hustle to really show the behind the scenes, like you said, the behind the curtain, and give people who have been supporting a true look. Right, the documentary was one thing, but like let me show you each month, like how we really like, and I can break it down through stories. I can break it down through, you know, just being in my kitchen washing dishes and talk to you. Like I'm gonna really dive in with topic by topic and break things down in an educational way that not only are you learning but you're like experiencing at the same time.
Right.
That's really what I want to do with the Art of Hustle. I don't want it to be like any other podcast or show. I want it to be me. And people been asking for it for a long time. Like, why don't you just document this, or why don't you just document this? And a lot of times it's just me starting stuff and I just don't be consistent with it. So I pray to God this year I jumped out. It took me a little while and I was supposed to do it in January, But we did the workshops, and I got confirmation last night, and it was like, you know what, bro, I'm going full tilt.
Yeah.
We're going full tilt with creative conversations, right? We sat there and was like, yup, we're going to be on stages, bro.
Gotcha.
We're going to be on stages because the knowledge and wisdom base and what people really, really want has to be given.
Yeah.
It has to be given. And the more that we sit between, I said it earlier, the more we sit between that ideation and action, the more we sit in between there, time is just moving by.
Yeah.
My pastor, thank God for him, but my pastor been talking about it like, yo, like, if you don't put your time with value and realize like time will pass you by and your value will decrease,
Right.
that joint hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, dang, bro, like, your value will decrease if you don't
Put some things in
if you don't put things in, like your value will decrease, bro. So, I don't know if that answers the question, but like, I really want Art of Hustle to be a monumental, legendary, love-focused, intentional, and I'm not just throwing words out there. I'm really like love-focused, transparent platform for people to be exposed, educated, and empowered by way of, myself, Xavier, Tramaine, and, the life and experience that I have and how I'm able to connect, create, and catalyze. So, yeah, it's an art to it, Art of Hustle.